One of the most important lessons that we get from the life of Guru Nanak Dev Ji during his time in Sultanpur was, as he was the Modi of the Modikhana, he gave a lot of donations. There were always beggars and poor people lined up at his Modikhana to receive things, and he gave food, he gave them clothes, and then when even the customers that came to him, instead of giving them what they asked for, he always gave them more. If they if they asked for 200 grams of something, he gave them 250. That in itself is being a donation too, because when that goes to somebody comes to your house to eat, that's like a donation there. Now, what happened when you gave all those donations? You had people who were telling on him to Nawab Daulat Khan that your Modi is basically losing its money. He's losing your money. And then Nawab Daulat Khan would call for a balancing of the accounts. And every time the accounts were balanced, there was always a profit. Now, we always do know that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is full of powers and miracles. And yes, anything that he would touch, nothing would go into shortage. But in a sense, if we kind of switch that around and say, anybody who gives donation is a miracle in itself. Anybody who donates is never in shortage. That's a rule we've seen in the world. Anybody who gives will always be in abundance. So that's a message that the Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave for the Modikhana. When Gyani Sher Singh Ji talks about having visitors coming to your home, that's another aspect that extends from this type of ideology. Is we often nowadays and age, we kind of look for people to come at a specific time. We want them to leave at a specific time, and what we're always thinking about is what we're going to feed them. Whereas the ideology that we got from Guru Nanak Dev Ji was that it's a blessed opportunity when somebody comes to your home and you have a chance to give them food and chance to serve them or entertain them in any way. This also builds into the good karma. And when Guru Har Rai Ji, back in the days, there weren't very many gurudwaras as we see them now. Sikhs in their homes would just make langar and call everybody from the street to come inside and eat langar. There was a sangat that came, I believe, from Kabul and all around. Actually, they came from Ujjain, and they came from other places to meet Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. And Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji asked them about what they do for langar, and they said, "Well, what happens when langar finishes?" They said, "Well, what we do is we try to gather whatever we can, rice, sugar, ghee, and we put it together and we make some sort of dish for them to eat." And Guru Har Rai Ji says, "Yes, that's even more reward for you." And he said, "Well, what happens when somebody comes at nighttime when there's nothing else to eat? Do you feed them too?" They said, "Yes." And then another question he asked, "Well, what if one of your enemies come and when it's time to eat?" They said, "Well, we see nobody as our enemy at that time. When it's time to eat, everybody's a friend." And Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji said, "Yes, even if an enemy comes to your home, as Sikh is not really supposed to have an enemy, but if an enemy comes during a time when it's your time to eat, you serve them as well." Chanakya actually mentions that more in his Arthashastra and his Niti, his politics, is when it's time to eat, even if an enemy comes, you should give them food as well. So this whole culture of giving, entertaining guests and making and giving them food, this is something that's been ingrained from Guru Nanak Dev Ji's time, and you can see that a culture exists even till today in Punjab. If you were to go to anybody's home in Punjab, especially a Sikh person's home, they would make sure that you are fed well and you're taken care of. They will give you a place to stay. They will give you food to eat. This is where the abundance of Sikhi comes from. If you've noticed, you will never see a Sikh begging. You will see a Sikh never in shortage. This is all the miracle of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, of how he gave us about abundance, about giving and doing seva, selfless. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's basic message was, feed the saints first and then eat yourself. Feeding the saints will help your karma. It helps the world go round. When the saints are fed, the whole world is fed. When the saints and the scholars are hungry, the whole world is never in abundance. The whole world goes without prosperity. And this we can see in the times of Kal Yuga, when the saints and the poor and the beggars and the weak are weak and are not getting enough what they want, the world is running into chaos. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji's message still rings today, and it will always forever ring. Do selfless service. Don't think about yourself. Think about the others, and give before you eat yourself.